U.S. wants Afghan prison overhaul. A sweeping United States military review calls for overhauling the troubled American-run prison at Bagram Air Base, and as well as the entire Afghan jail and judicial systems, a reaction to growing worries that abuses and militant recruiting within the prisons are helping to strengthen the Taliban. Yes, somehow it's making them stronger. And a further sign of high-level concern over detention practices, Admiral Mike Mullen, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, sent a confidential message last week to all of the military service chiefs and senior field commanders, asking them to redouble their efforts to alert troops to the importance of treating detainees properly. The prison at this air base, north of the capital, Kabul, has become an ominous symbol for Afghans, a place where harsh interrogation methods were used routinely in its early years, and where 2 Afghan detainees died in 2002 after being beaten by American soldiers and hung up by their arms from the ceiling of isolation cells. Bagram also became a holding site for terrorism suspects captured outside Afghanistan and Iraq. But even as treatment at Bagram improved in recent years, conditions worsened in the larger Afghan-run prison network, which houses more than 15,000 detainees at 3 dozen overcrowded and often violent sites, and the country's deeply flawed judicial system affords prisoners virtually no legal protections, human rights advocates say. Throughout Afghanistan, Afghans are arbitrarily detained by police, prosecutors, judges, and detention center officials with alarming regularity. Where is the humanity? Separating out the hardcore elements. A new report, which has not been made public, but is circulating among senior American officials, recommends separating extremist militants from more moderate detainees instead of having them mixed together as they are now, according to 2 American officials who have read or been briefed on the report. Theoretically, under the new approach, the United States would help build and finance a new Afghan-run prison for the hardcore extremists. And how much would that cost? And how much would it cost to continue to keep it running? Anyway, the United States would help build and finance a new Afghan-run prison for the hardcore extremists who are now using the poorly run Afghan correction system as a camp to train small-time thieves and other common criminals to be deadly militants, the American officials said. Yes, like a training ground. Prisons and jails to train more Taliban. The remaining inmates would be taught vocational skills and offered other classes, and supposedly they would be taught about moderate Islam with the aim of reintegrating them into society, said the officials. The review also presses for training new Afghan security our prison guards, prosecutors, and judges. The recommendations come as American officials express fears that the overcrowded Afghan-run prisons will now be overwhelmed by waves of new prisoners captured in the American-led offensive in southern Afghanistan, where thousands of Marines are battling Taliban fighters. How much is that going to cost? And how long? The Defense and Justice Departments are leading two government task forces studying those issues. But administration officials say that the task forces, which are dealing with questions like whether terrorism suspects should be turned over to other countries and how to deal with detainees who are thought to be dangerous, but who cannot be brought to trial. In other words, how do you hold people in jail or in prisons indefinitely without ever bringing charges? I guess this is one way. Indefinite imprisonments. The Admiral urged top American field commanders to step up their efforts to ensure that prisoners were treated properly, both at the point of capture and in military prisons. He told the service chiefs to emphasize detainee treatment when preparing and training troops who deploy to the Middle East and Southwest Asia. It is essential to who we are as a fighting force that we get this right, Admiral Mullen said in the message. We are better than what I saw in those detainee pictures. The problems at the existing American-run prison, the Bagram Theater Internment Faculty, have been well documented. The prison is a converted aircraft hangar, tougher than Guantanamo Bay. Military personnel who know the prison and the prison at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, describe the Afghan site as tougher and more Spartan. The prisoners have few privileges and virtually no access to lawyers or the judicial process. Many are still held in big cages. And in the past few weeks, prisoners have refused to leave their cells to protest their indefinite imprisonment. So again, how long is the Afghan war going to last? When will it be won? And again, when will they know that they have won? How long are they going to hold all these prisoners? Indefinitely? And on what charges? No charges at all? Just suspicions? So what has happened to the rule of law? Or are the rules going away? No more rules? There's something more going on here. And how much is it going to cost to detain all these prisoners? And is the United States going to have to pick up the tab? We're going to have to pay for all this indefinite imprisonment? And once again, all this, these signs are more signs of the end times, transition days. The transition is happening. It's ongoing, daily, all around the world. And there are many, many signs.